Alright, so I'm going to talk to you about the 5 sliders and the 5 keys we learned about a relationship or relationships in general. Doesn't matter if it's an intimate relationship or a friendship, just any relationship. A lot of these keys and sliders will help you get through those hard times and struggles and communication problems. But I'll start with the 5 sliders. The first slider is no. Second one is trust. Third one is rely. Fourth one is commit. And fifth one is touch. So we'll start with no. What I've gotten to know about no is that things take time. And you're going to have to take the time to get to know somebody. You're not going to know them within the first 30 seconds of who they are. And you're just going to kind of make a rough judgment if you can be compatible friend-wise or in an intimate relationship with them. And that's important to know. But it's also important to know in a relationship what you personally are like. You need to get to know yourself. You need to get to know what your likes, your dislikes are, all of the things that encompass yourself. Because if you don't know yourself, it's hard to get to know somebody else. The second slider I want to talk to you about is trust. It's hard to trust others, but it's important to have those hard conversations and know how to have those hard conversations. And trusting in that person makes it easier to have those hard conversations and be able to communicate. Trusting somebody is knowing who they are and their inner core as a person and trusting that they won't hurt you, that they won't share personal information, and different things along that sort. The third slider is rely, and you have to rely on another person sometimes when you can't do something yourself. And for me, for example, I have a hard time relying on people because I like things done my own way, and I'm very OCD about how I have things done. But over this semester, I've learned to rely more on my husband because, we just got married and I can't do everything by myself, so I need him to rely on. The fourth slider is commitment. And we really have to be cautious of others and their surroundings. And you have to know how to navigate how to commit to your partner, because there are ways to commit to your partner that sometimes might not work in a friendship. For example, commitment to my husband is we're married, and that's kind of it. For some of my friends, we could be friends for 7 years and catch back up during lunch. That's our commitment to each other, is just being able to stay connected. And it depends on your relationship with other people, depends on your commitment. The fifth slider is touch. And this one I've learned a lot about, not just physically, but more emotionally. And something you've said all of class is talk, time, and togetherness equals intimacy. And intimacy is more than just a physical thing. It's an emotional thing. And you're able to be emotionally attached to somebody depending on how much time you spend with them, how much you talk to them, and how much you are together with them. And it helps build that touch. Honestly, that little phrase helps build your know, your trust, your rely, your commitment, all of those 5 sliders. And it helps build that relationship you're trying to. So next is the 5 keys. The first one is decide, don't slide. The second one is do your part. The third one is make it safe to connect. The fourth one is open the doors to a positive connection. The fifth one is nurture your commitment. These 5 are different, but they are very much in sync with the sliders. The first one is decide, don't slide. That means you need to decide about things. That may be little things, big things. Doesn't matter. Make a decision and stick with it and go with it, because that's what matters. And if you just decide and then all of a sudden change, it's going to really affect different ways that you attack things. and different ways that you're going to try and navigate through life. So make a decision and go with it. Do your part is the second one. And you need to be able to put in the effort to a relationship and be able to spend time with that person. Again, back to talk, time, and togetherness. But that just helps build you when you do your part. And it helps your partner feel that they're appreciated and wanted when they do their part, as well as you doing your part. It goes both ways in any relationship. Also, you can't take everything so personally when you're doing your part. When your partner or your relationship or anything, your partner's doing their part, don't take offense to something they say. Maybe it's constructive criticism, and that helps you become a better person. Really try to put in effort and do your part on your relationship or whatever it is you're working towards. Number 3, make it safe to connect. It's hard to connect to people these days because you never know what they're on the other side of them when they're on social media. And that's a hard part to disconnect. But you need to make it safe to connect. Have those conversations in person. Have conversations that'll be impactful. Make it safe to be vulnerable. Being vulnerable is very hard, and it takes a lot from your interpersonal self. But make time to be vulnerable. Make it safe to be vulnerable, because when you're safe in a relationship and you can connect, it makes it so much easier to be vulnerable and be your true self and express those feelings that sometimes are hard to express. Number 4, open the doors to a positive connection. Try to find the good in your relationship. There's always good. Doesn't matter if you're in a hard conversation or you're in a fight, there's always a positive thing about it. Change that hard conversation or that fight that you're going through and look at the positives in it. You're figuring out a problem and you're figuring out how to work with each other and to be able to move forward, move to that next step. And always try to find the good in the bad and try to find ways to make everything good. It's hard, I understand, but it'll take time. Back to the talk, time, and togetherness. Everything takes time. And that's part of getting to know somebody as well. Number 5 is nurture your commitment. That goes along with commitment, what we talked about before. In fights, remember why you fell in love with that person and what made you become friends with that person. Anything that brings you back to that first little bit of that relationship, try to find that where that middle ground is and be able to help each other and talk to each other continuously. Commitment takes time, and you have to keep committing to that person and letting them know that you're always going to be there. And letting them know that it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to trust each other. It's okay to commit to each other. And you know, all of these things that I've talked about with the 5 sliders and the 5 keys, all 10 of these things go hand in hand and be able to uplift one another in a relationship. It's important that we are able to do all of these things to be able to make our relationships and our commitments towards each other very well. Thank you.